Yeah, so I was saying that the chart of accounts. So we saw the accounting convention. Just a moment. Yeah. So so the next part that we have is that chart of accounts. So now, what exactly is chart of account is, or why do we create chart of accounts, or why this particular component is mandatory in terms of GL configuration. So the reason behind is that, so if you are entering any transaction, so let's say I'm booking a purchase order, so I'll have to book the invoice and make the payment. So now, when I'm creating this invoice, so meaning I'm creating this as an subledger transaction. Okay, so even though I created an accounts payable module, end of the day I will have to transfer this particular transaction to GL. So if I want to transfer this transaction to GL, I cannot just have this as a supplier name and the invoice number, amount, and these things I cannot do. So what I will have to do is that I will have to specify this is the account code combination, meaning, so I'll say, I'll give an example that I have a combination in such a way that I have company, I have account, department, and intercompany. Okay. So in this case, so I'll have 0 1.100. So meaning first segment is separated by dot. Okay. So this frames my one line of accounting entry in debit or credit. Okay. So for a transaction, I'll have both debit and credit. So this should be equal. So for which segment I'm specifying this as balancing segment. Okay. So this is the base. So that is why we are having this particular component called chart of accounts. Okay. So how do we start with creating chart of accounts? So we have something called financial reporting structure. So this is where basically we will create it. So now we have seen that these are the values that we are selecting there in invoice screen, and we are pushing it to the respective modules. Okay, I mean the general ledger. So now in order to do that, like selecting the values from the list of value, so I'll need three things. So first I'll need the value set, because this is where I'm going to add the values. And second thing, I cannot directly call the value set. So what I'll need the structure. Okay. And this structure will be attached to a ledger. So that is how I will understand that this account belongs to this particular ledger, and I can see the transaction in this particular ledger. Okay. So probably we'll see more details in the further classes. So to start with, so we'll see what is value set, and why do we use it basically. Okay. So if you see here, so there are certain values that I can give. So let me give DH value set. Okay. And here if you see, so you have the modules. So in modules, I have general ledger. So I'm selecting general ledger, and here if you see, so we have validation.
Sir,
So yeah,
why are we selecting the particular general ledger?
because
Should
because we are doing this configuration for general ledger model. Just give me a minute, just 1 minute. Yeah. So the reason why we are selecting this general ledger is that, so what we are specifying here will be applicable only to that particular module. So now if I'm specifying here as asset, so I will not be able to fetch this particular value set code called DH value set in chart of accounts, because chart of account is a particular setup that is only to specific to general ledger. So I'm not going to use this in asset or any other module. So that is why we are restricting this particular value set only to general ledger module. Okay. I mean, you are able to follow.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So now we have selected the module, and second thing what we have is that validation type. So what are the validation types that we have is that, so subset and table and view objects. So these are the three things that will be used for reporting purposes. We will not be using it here in general ledger or chart of accounts definition. Okay, because subset is I mean table is something that we are getting the values from tables, meaning we have created a custom table, or probably we have a table, the master table, so from there we are getting the data, so that is table. And subset is something that you have a reference data there and you are referring that and you are pulling the data, so that is subset. And view object is something that you have an object created there and you are calling it. Okay, so that's a difference, but we will not use these three types here. So we will majorly use independent, dependent, and format only. Even the dependent we will not use it. So the, I mean, for an what do you call project or the other things you can use it, but for the accounting segment, you will not use dependent, because there are few changes after 18D. Okay, so we will use something called related value set. So when I will use this is that, so I have my account and I have my sub account. So usually if you see in the previous versions, so you will create independent as account and sub account as dependent, because by selecting the first account, that is GL account, I'll have my sub accounts. So that is overridden or replaced by this particular concept called related value set. Okay, so that we will see after this. So now the next option that we have is that independent. So independent is straightforward. So you have some character definition, the length you can give it, and based on that you can give it, so it is not depending on any other value set. So that's the meaning. Okay, and then you have something called format only. So format only meaning, so you can give character or number. So date and time usually it's not used here in the chart of accounts, so probably you can use in other columns or the other values. So usually again this will come into picture only when you create the report. Okay, so now I have a character. So let's say I don't want to have character. I wanted to have only as a numerical value for this particular segment. Okay. So in this case, what I will do is that I'll give this as number. And if you want to set up the precision, so in this case we will not need need precision. So you can just leave it and you can give the minimum value. So what would be the minimum value that you wanted to have here? So probably let's say 4. Okay, so I'm
Sir,
saving this. Yeah,
sir, what is the precision and scale? What
yeah,
what is your option about, and
yeah,
how
precision
can
is
we use
nothing. Yeah, so precision is nothing but after point. So how many digits you can have it. So let's say I have my amount in such a way that 3 precision. So 100 rupees will be reported as 100.000. Okay, so that is precision.
okay.
And scale is something that it is supportive to this precision. Okay, so that's the difference between precision, but in this case we will not use precision, because if you are giving this as precision, what will happen is that let's assume that this is my company segment. So I wanted to have my company segment as 100. Okay, so now if I enable precision, what will happen is that it is going to say 100.00. I mean, if I give precision as 1 or 2. If it is 1, it is going to say 100.1, or I mean 100.0, or it is going to say, if it is 2, it is going to say 100.00. So most of the cases you will not see this requirement to have this as an precision. So precisions are used in different way, wherein we have the reason why you are having this precision is that we have selected the data type as number. Okay, so when we say number, it will give this option to select the precision, because most of the case if you see, so business might want to have this, but our objective is to avoid having the characters, so that's the reason we are having number. Okay, fine, you are getting it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, so okay, so let me just open this again. So it is ph value set. Okay, yeah, so this is created. So this we have created for one segment. So as I said, so we will attach this value set to a segment. Okay. So that is how we will frame this chart of accounts, and we will attach to a ledger, and we will do the transaction with that particular ledger. Okay. So now we have completed our first step, that is creating the value set. Okay, so that's what. Similarly, we will create for the other segments as well. So now I'll show you a value set that I have created. So here if you see, so you can see three buttons. So first one is manage structure, and second one is manage structure instance, and third one is deploy Flexfield. So now deploy Flexfield is nothing but we are just validating whether there is any error in the Flexfield or the structure creation. Okay, so system is going to validate and throw error. So if there is any error, so probably we will see here in the deployment message, and this whatever you are seeing in green color, the tick mark, so this will be marked as red, meaning there is some error. Okay, so then we have these two things called manage structure and structure instance. So now what is the difference between structure and structure instance? So in this case, what will happen is that, so I cannot attach my structure directly to the ledger. So I will need structure instance. Okay. So what I will do is that, so I will create this structure, and I will attach it to instance. So the question is, so why do we attach it to instance? So the reason being, so let's say I have probably 10 segments. Okay. So I'm implementing for probably 4 countries. So now I wanted to have two different chart of accounts for different ledgers probably. Okay, let's say I'm creating 10 ledgers. So I wanted to have four for a chart of accounts and another six for another chart of accounts. So in this case, if I'm creating 10 segments in my structure, so while defining my structure instance, what I will do is that I will pick this chart of accounts, and I will specify for the first chart of accounts 4 segments, and the remaining 6 I will create it as different structure instance. Okay, because I'm going to attach this structure instance to my ledger. I cannot create, I mean, I cannot attach this structure directly to your ledger. Okay, as I said. So now I cannot create directly the structure instance. As I said, we are calling the structure and creating the structure instance. So first, what I will do is that I will create the structure. So
Sir, is there a step for if I am creating a company, if I am creating a user, then
hmm,
I'm creating a role, then I have to alert role like that. There is a step for a process, or should I do the chart of what is the process? I am not getting it
no,
because uh, there is a too many of them taking classes, so there is a I have confusion.
Okay.
So, how according to that the process will be done?
Okay.
Will it be from journal to general ledger, or after that? I am little bit confused on that side.
Okay, so if you look at the process or the sequence, how we will do the setups. So I'll talk about general ledger here. So before creating configuration or starting with GL setups, so what you need is that basically the implementation project user and assign role for that particular user. So this probably you have seen it. So this
Yes,
is the
yes.
sequence. So we will create the user. We will create the implementation and assign this implementation to the user, and then we will open the project and start with configuration. So now coming to general ledger. So how we will start is that. So first we will create the value set.
Okay.
Okay, and then we will create the Flexfield structure. So that is where we are, and then we will create the instance. So after creating the instance, so we will have to deploy it. So after deploy, it will be available for the attachment. Okay, then
Okay.
what we will do is that we will add values to this particular value set. Okay, so after adding the value set, so it is ready for ledger creation. Then we will create the ledger and we will attach these four C's. So I was saying four C, right? So we will attach it, and we are attaching the chart of account instance there. Okay, and the ledger will be created. And after that, what we will do is that we will assign the balancing segment value. We call this as BSV. Okay, so after assigning this, so we have something called ledger options. So after giving the ledger options, and then we will generate the cube. So cube is nothing but once you complete your general ledger setups, so system will create the cube. So this cube will be used for the financial reporting and the other aspects. Okay. So
Okay.
once these steps are completed, so we are good with the setups. Then what we can do is that we can open the period and then we can start entering the journal entry. So this is your sequence.
Okay, so much.
Okay. Okay. So here if you see, so okay. So first I'll show you. So what we have created it, and I'll show you how to create it. Okay. So first here if you see, so this is the so I'm logged in as Bolton user, and this is chart of accounts that we have created and assigned to this particular ledger. That ledger is again attached to this particular user. Okay, we'll see those things later. So this is the sequence, and these are the segments that we have created. So here if you see, so on top we have the structure code. So structure code is nothing but Bolton COA. Okay,
Okay,
and
sir, the
yeah.
structure code or value code is it for a company we are giving a specific number so we can identify that company, or is it somewhat different
No, which
about
one you are asking? The sequence number or which one?
the structure code,
Okay, structure.
structure code, sir. The about
Structure code.
yeah,
Okay.
the
Uh,
in other creations also there is
uh,
a value code something it's showing before the
okay.
we are creating a company. There's a
Okay.
code asking on every blank box.
Yeah,
So is
code
it
is nothing but your short form of calling your company, or it could be your COA. So for both, you will have the shortcut. I mean, if you see across the modules also, so you will have your shortcuts across your modules. Like for example, if you take payables, so you will have to create the reference data set. So you will have the shortcode there as well. So shortcode is nothing but your identification. So probably you might have. Two, three chart of accounts. So in order
okay?
to give it to user to attach it or probably to query it and make sure that he is posting entries in the correct books of accounts. So we will give it. So here if you see, so here in this case, since this is test environment, we are giving the same name as Bolton COA. So in real time, we will have a bolt-on chart of accounts, probably the lengthier name. So instead of having this lengthier name, what we can do is that we can have a short code, and we can use the short code across the modules. So that's the purpose of having the short code. It's kind of an unique identifier, you can say.
Okay, so
Okay. So this is not only for this, so you will have it for the segments also. So here you have the company, department, account, and these things, right? So this we call it as the segment. So even for the segments, we will have the short code.
Okay.
Okay. So the first step would be to create the structure. So structure is nothing but a naming convention because what defines this structure is that the segments, what we are giving it here. Okay.
Okay.
So in this case, I have given the structure code and the structure name. Okay. And delimiter. Again, this is mandatory. The reason being is that so if I want to segregate or split this particular segment values, so I will need to give this delimiter. Okay. So that's the purpose. So that's why we are having this delimiter. So here you have different options. So you can give, you can select either one of it. So
I
like
cannot see the below options. It's showing like a black box.
you are able to see this. I mean, I'm
No,
scrolling it.
no, 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 no. I am not able to see the options and the top, the where you are placing right there. I cannot see that. It's fully showing like a black box.
You are not able to see my screen, or it is.
No, no, no. That particular portion, the delimiter, the option side, right? The
Yeah,
below
correct.
option side. Yeah,
Uh,
that portion alone I cannot see.
okay.
It's showing
Uh,
like a black box on top of.
okay. One minute.
I think you have some settings enabled.
Yeah, no, I think maybe I need. I did not share the entire screen. I probably I shared only a specific window, so that's why maybe it's happening. Okay. Now you are able to see this delimiter.
Ah, yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, fine. So these are the options that you have to set up your delimiter. So now, I mean, these are not used at all, like the double colon and equal to symbol. These things are not used at all. Either it is this option, or probably you will use the hyphen. So these are the two things used universally, and best practice is to use this particular option. Okay. So that's about the delimiter, and we should make sure that we enable this particular chart of accounts. So that is when we will be able to attach it to ledger also. And then here, if you see, so as I said, these are your segments. So here, how many segments we have created? So we have created 6 segments. So that is company, department, account, and intercompany. And then future is something that we will have the default value. So probably if I want to use it later point in time, I wanted to get bring additional segment. So I can utilize here. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that Suresh sir, I actually explained me what are the segments and what is the sequence number and
Mm.
what are the fixed fields for.
Okay.
The segments we are creating for a company to how the company will be operating.
Mm.
The company will be operating because of the name of the company and the department the company comes under and the account in which if I am purchasing a furniture, it
Mm.
will be coming under which sections and the future one and future two or future segments. We cannot add additional segments for every time, so we
Mm.
are creating a dummy segment for a future for the future purpose.
Mm. Yeah, correct. So
And
probably we will enable it at a later point in time. Okay, so that's the purpose of having that. So till we use that segment for future purpose, so we will have a standard value called default. So for all the transaction, we will be selecting the default option. Okay. So now, how will we basically enable this particular segment? So let's say instead of having future one, I wanted to see the value when I'm selecting the creating the invoice or creating the journal entry. So how do I select it? So we have something called prompt. So prompt is
Sir,
the
so can you explain me that about the option sequence number? What is that about?
yeah, I'm coming to that. So before that, I'm explaining you what is feature or how do you enable the feature segment. So
Okay.
I'll come to that. Okay. So prompt is the name where how you want to see or how user want to see the display name. So now if I have given here as feature, meaning feature segment so that user can understand, but when I'm enabling it, so user will be still seeing this as feature, but whereas that should be enabled as project segment. So where I will define this, I'll define it here in the prompt segment. Okay, so I can give it here in the prompt, and that from there I'll be adding new values and user will be selecting those values and start creating the transaction. So that is what. Okay, so now here if you see, so we have something called segment code. So segment code is is defining actually. We cannot say exactly defining. So what defines is that the labels that we are giving here. So here if you see, we have given the primary balancing segment. So what is the meaning of primary balancing segment? Meaning, so for this particular segment, I wanted to have my debit and credit column equal. So if I'm entering any journal entry, so my debit will be 100 and my credit will be 100 for this particular segment. If that is unbalanced, so system will throw an exception. So it will not allow us to create the journal entries. Okay, I mean post the entries. We can create it, but the entry will stay in exception. So unless until I post this particular entry, so this will not add to the balance. Balance meaning I'm referring to the trial balance. Okay.
Okay.
So now I have given my segment code. So next, what I have is that API name. So what is the API name meaning? So if I'm, let's say, I'm integrating with different applications. So I have my third-party application or the core application of the business. So I'm using Fusion only for the reporting purpose. Probably Fusion gives me better reporting capability. So what I'm doing is that I'm importing the transactions from the core application and I'm using it here. So now I will have some linkages. So if I'm getting the data, so I will have different segments that being used there in the core application. Then what I have it here as a structure. So now where this API name will be helpful is that in terms of integration. So simply I can pass this company. Okay, this is my API name, so I can pass it and I can get the value through the API calls. Okay, so that is where I can use this API name. So next I have the name, that is segment name. So segment name is nothing but the extension of the segment code. Okay, and description is optional. So probably if you want to use it, so you can give it. And then sequence. So sequence is something that you wanted to list the sequence. So probably you might have created company first and then account second. So but whatever the sequence you are giving here, so that will be your list. So when you are creating the journal entry, so the first segment that you will see is that company. So now
Okay.
I have created this one, what do you call, the account segment and intercompany. But I created account and then I created the intercompany. But I did not specify or give sequence 2 for my account segment. I have given it for intercompany. So when I'm creating this journal entry, what I will see is that I will see first segment as company, second segment as intercompany, and then third segment as account. Okay. So
So
that's about.
in that case, if I put company sequence to number one and
Hmm.
account also number one, will
No,
that
it
happen?
will not accept. No, it will
Oh,
not accept. It will say, it will tell you that one has already defined. So you will have to change it.
okay.
Okay, so the duplication will be checked automatically. So you cannot create the, I mean, you cannot give the same number. Okay.
Okay.
Um, okay, so that's about the sequence name and prompt we have seen and the display width. So the length, how you want to see. So if you are giving here see 3, so you will see the display width as 3. Only the three digit will be shown. Okay, so that's about it. And then you have something called column name. So column name is something that, so where you want to store the values of this particular segment called company. So this is just in backend storage. So you can give segment one, two, three, or 30. You have maximum of 30, minimum of two. You will have to create it. So one is company and second is account. So these two becomes mandatory. So apart from that, if you want to have a maximum segment, so you can have until 30. So each segment will have are attached to a particular segment. Okay, so in this case we have attached segment 1 to this segment, and the sequence we have given is 1. Okay, and here if you see, we are attaching the value set. So value set is the one which we saw before this particular configuration. We saw the validation and the types, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
that is what we are attaching it here. Okay, yeah, and then we have the labels. So labels will define how this particular segment will work. So for example, I have given this as company segment, but I'm attaching natural account to this particular segment. So what will happen is that, so this will have certain qualifier, that account type, whether the budgeting is allowed or not, whether I can use posting, whether I can restrict the journal entries. So all these things will be applied to this particular segment. But whereas I wanted to have those particular qualifiers only for my account segment. So in that case, so I'll have to attach natural account label to segment account. Okay, so this I will select this as balancing segment. And then I have my what do you call the cost center and other. So cost center is nothing but your department. Okay,
Okay.
so that's about the label. So once we have created it, so
Sir,
we are done.
what about that range type?
Rate.
Uh, and on the right top side, display with below display with.
Range.
Yeah.
Range is nothing but whether you wanted to have high to low. I mean, the range is nothing but, so let's say you have probably 100 values. Okay,
Okay.
so in this 100 values, whether you wanted to list it from,
You are you talking about the sequence number value?
a sequence value only, but when I'm creating this particular value, let's say my company values will start from 100 and it will end to end from where I can say, I can say 900. Okay, so if I give a high, it is going to show from 900, 800, 700. If I'm giving a low, it is going to show me 100, 200. So that's the impact of this particular configuration, low or high.
Okay.
Okay.
What
Yeah.
what would be the general range type?
No, generally we will not give range. This is optional configuration. So,
Okay,
I
okay.
mean, I haven't seen any client asking for to have high to low or these things. Because how these COA values will be defined is that, so for expense you will have one series and two series. So already they know what is the value and where to pick all those things. So, and also you have option to enter it, and system is going to give the suggestion as well. So you, so basically user will not need this high to low. Okay, so because one thing is that they will get used to it. So the second thing is that, so high value, you cannot have define system to have only the high value or only the low value, because if you see my revenue account, it will start from 3. So it is in between low and high. So I'll have to search it again. So this will not be in requirement, or I haven't seen any client asking for low or high. But you have option to set it.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Any other doubt?
No, sir, no, sir.
Okay. Okay. So we have created one segment. So accordingly, we will create for the other segments as well. Okay. So we will have the this thing and we will attach it.
For
So.
for each segment, there
Mm,
the segment labels will change according to that. For
yeah. Correct.
department, I saw. for
Mm,
cost center segment.
correct, correct. So you cannot attach one label to multiple segments. So that is one thing. And there can be cases where certain segments will not have a label, and certain segments will have labels.
Okay.
For
Uh,
example, if I'm giving this as a location, so I cannot give a label for location, because location is nothing but where I'm booking this particular invoice or creating this particular journal entry. So that is for reporting purpose, whether this location is making more sales, or this particular department is making more expenses. So that is in terms of reporting, but I will not need that in terms of financial impact while creating the transaction. So that is the reason for a few cases. So you will have certain segments that will not have any labels attached to it, and certain cases you will need labels to be attached. So for example, natural account, mandatorily you need to have that attached. So unless until you attach it, so system will not recognize whether this is natural account or any other common segment. Okay. So that is how we will define the labels. I mean, attach it to the segment. Okay,
okay.
clear?
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So this is your first step. So once you have created your chart of accounts, so basically we are good with the structure. Okay. So with that we complete our structure configuration, and the next step what we have is that structure instance. So again, what I'll do is that I'll just pick it, and here if you see, so here again the same thing, API and this thing, so same thing. So whatever I explained there, so that is applicable here as well, because explanation wise it is same. So what is different here is that, so there are three options. So first thing, dynamic combination creation allowed. So what is dynamic combination? So here, if I or let's say I have disabled this particular option. So in this case, what will happen? So let's say I have uploaded my master, that is for company, department, account, all those things. I have uploaded the values. So probably in company I'll have 20 companies, and department I'll have 30, and account probably I have 500 accounts, and intercompany again same as company. Okay. So now I'm creating new account. So this new account will have to be attached or created as multiple combination. So combination meaning 100 is my company dot 1000. This is my department, and then 4567 is my account. So this is one particular combination. So similarly, I'll need to create multiple combination which we cannot create it. So that is the reason we have this option called dynamic combination creation alone. So this will create combination on the fly. So we don't need to do anything. So system will take care of creating the multiple combinations once you create a account. So it could be account, or it could be department, or it could be a company, whatever the value you are adding to the segment, so that will be added here. Okay, so that is what about the dynamic combination allowed. And then you have something called shorten analyze. So shorten analyze is nothing but instead of selecting this combinations manually, so you can just have kind of an what do you call, you can just give a name, and you can give the combination under that particular name. So user will just give the name, and user will select it and create the journal entries. So that's the purpose of having short analysis. So even this, if you see, so you have this option, but most of the clients won't use it because they wanted to have different segments and these things. So it's only the manual selection that user will prefer, as far as I have seen different projects. So, but you have option of having the short analysis. Okay.
Okay.
So now, how I'm getting this segments, you're seeing company, department, account, whatever we created there. So we are seeing it here. But if you see here, so we don't have any plus icon. That is to add a new value. So we don't have anything. So the reason, these are populated from this structure. So we created structure called Bolton COA. So these segments are populated from there. So whatever is there, so it is going to show here. So we can mark whether I need it or not. So I wanted to have all six segments, so I have marked all six as required. So probably if I need only four, I don't need feature one and feature two, I can disable this. Okay. So how do I disable? So I'll just say edit. Here you will see required. I'll say, I'll unselect this record. So now what will happen is that it is going to remove this from this particular instance. But this is not suggested. So once you freeze your flex field, that is structure, so you should not change or make any change to this particular structure. It will give you data corruption issues. Okay, so it's always suggested not to make any change after you deploy your chart of accounts.
Okay.
Okay, so that's about it. So after creating this, so you will just save and post. So the reason why I'm doing save and then save and close is that so sometimes this save and close will not work. So data you might lose data. So that's the reason I'm making sure that I save this transaction and then I'm giving the close. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we have created chart of accounts and instance, and this is the option. So if you click this, so it will deploy. I mean, it will take more time. So I'm not deploying at this point in time. So probably you can explore this. Okay, so nothing. You just click this, and it is going to say yes. The green signal.
Okay.
Okay, so clear till now.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So I have created one user by
okay,
Haze, but
okay,
I cannot find it. I have done compare the chart of accounts, different structure, set of values,
okay,
everything, but I
okay.
cannot find it in that user. How can you help me with that?
Yeah, sure. You're sharing your screen.
In yes,
I mean, you want to share your screen.
1 second, sir.
Ah,
I will check whether the account is opening or not. Then I will.
okay.
No, sir, it's not working.
Okay. Uh,
Uh, the
I mean,
ID which I'm working for is delivery. The
okay,
SAG gave it to me.
okay,
Right now, it's showing authentication failed error.
okay. Maybe there might be an refresh activity, so that's why you're not able to see it, or it says authentication failed. So probably you can try out after some time. But where exactly you are getting this issue? I mean, you are able to. I mean, you couldn't find it. So
Uh,
where is that?
I don't know how to find my user the settings everything and
User, you can find it here in the security console. So here you have tools. So under tools you have security console. So under this, if you go, so you will find a role and you will find the user. So for instance, if I want to see the user that I'm using, so probably I'll use this called Bolton user. Okay. And here I'll be able to see the this thing called the roles.
suppose in case I have implemented a project.
Okay.
How can I see that?
So that you can go here. So from this one, from your
Setup and maintenance.
setup and maintenance. So here you will have option to manage implementation project, the first option.
Yeah.
And here you can search by your, so this is case sensitive. So if your first letter starts with cat, so you'll have to give it, so you will get the project.
Okay. Here only I'm having the problem of
Okay.
searching. If I type my name is H capital and other small A Z T, I couldn't find it.
Okay.
In the next class, maybe I will share the screen and you can help me out.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. So any doubt till this point?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So I have a call at 10:15. So probably we will close at this point today,
Okay.
and we will resume tomorrow. Okay. So we
So
have created this,
tomorrow
and
timing?
timing same time. We'll start 9 o'clock, and then probably we'll try to extend it. Okay.
Okay.
So So tomorrow what we will see is that so we have created this one chart of accounts, I mean the instance, and the calendar I'll just show you. So that's not a big setup, but still I'll show you. So how to create a calendar, and currencies, so you will have by default. You probably if a currency.
Yeah. It's basically the plus button and
Uh,
how we can create a USD. I have
yeah.
seen. I have tried on my own
Okay.
setup. So
Okay.
I have a little bit idea. I have created a user and allotted role and implemented projects and
Okay.
added currencies also currency calendars
Okay.
stretches till instances. I have done that.
Okay.
But after that, I couldn't find that ID. That's my issue.
Okay.
So,
No
so
issues.
I yeah. So that I have a overall view till that
Okay.
point, till chart of account instance.
Okay, fine, no issues. So what will happen is that I'm not sure whether this has happened to your project. So if you go to implementation project and you say delete this particular project, so this will be deleted. You'll not be able to see it anymore. So that is one case. But the audit trail for this deletion is not there with Oracle as well. So this is point number one. So second point, coming to your chart of accounts, so that cannot be deleted. So you will definitely able to see, you should be able to see your chart of accounts. So chart of accounts cannot be deleted. So
Okay,
that we can check it tomorrow. So we'll see both your project and your chart of accounts.
sure.
Okay.
Thank you for today's class.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.